Welcome back. Today we are very glad to have Columbia University professor Ketty Maisonrouge with us here, and we're going to discuss about this phenomenon of the growth of China's middle class. Ketty, actually you teach luxury marketing in Columbia.
Yes, absolutely. I started teaching in 2005.
And so, do you mention Chinese market in your class, or how important this market in your teaching?
It's very interesting. When I started teaching at Columbia Business School, I would mention China, of course, as something that we needed to watch. And it was actually 2005 is the year where the Comité Colbert, which is the largest group of French luxury companies, I decided to go and make a big event in Shanghai in Plaza 66. And I was there, and I could really see the importance of the Chinese market coming up and becoming, one of the fastest growing markets. But I don't think anyone had realized in 2005 how fast it would go. And so, of course, I mentioned it in 2005. Now it's more than mentioning it. When you talk about luxury, you cannot not talk about China, talk about how the consumer, is purchasing luxury brands, what do they like, what do they think. And so it went from mentioning it to really trying to understand it.
So actually, we see this from one side, that is when the economy is growing and the people get richer. So we see this emerging middle class. And of course, these people are going to buy more luxury products. But how about from the other side? So maybe the sales of the luxury products actually maybe help the creation of the middle class?
I think it goes both ways. Until now, until very recently, luxury products were really bought by the very, very wealthy. Okay, but what is happening is that the wealth, as you mentioned, is trickling down. There are more people, that there's a true middle class that is being created, and this middle class knows about luxury products, wants to also start pampering themselves. And today they represent 12 million households. And those one we calculate between 100,000 to 300,000 RMB. They today represent 12% of the luxury purchases. But it is estimated that by 2015, they will represent 70 million of the household. And they will represent 22% of the luxury product sales. So what does it mean? It means that they know more. It means that the brands need to pay attention to them and to target them versus only the very wealthy.
How much do you think this kind of really so modern, cool marketing campaigns play in trying to attract the consumer to buy them?
If you think that today Gucci in the Asia Pacific region sells 37% of their revenues come from Asia Pacific versus 20% in 2006. If you think that Maserati doubled its sales from 2009 to 2010 in China, of course the brands are going there, which is why, so there is obviously a push from the brands. But the brands, they could push as much as they want. If people did not want to buy it, it wouldn't, would work. And as you mentioned, peer pressure, of course, is part of it. I mean, to this day, 65% of Chinese think that if you own a luxury product, it means you are successful.
And at the same time, there's a demographic change in the Chinese population. We see this young generation, and they have a total different consumption habit from older generation. For example, they would use credit card more, and they would buy from, they would shop online more. 3/5, of the Chinese population today is below 30. So these, young people are going to represent within the next 10 years 70% of the luxury consumer, and they are the ones who, their counterpart in France, in Italy, in New York, they are the ones who are going to push the society towards consumerism. Because in a way, when you reach the same level of wealth that in the other countries, with the world where we live today, where everything is about being global, everyone has access basically to the same information, to the internet, everyone travels, everyone starts to think more and more the same way. So yeah, I do think that we are going to see a China that is becoming much more consuming oriented.
And that actually will be a big change for the Chinese society.
Yes,
Like,
I totally agree.
thank you very much.
You're welcome. A pleasure to be here today.